It's a great idea. We're going to bring out Brad Arnold right now.
Nice, give it up. Brad, he goes down. Sure, welcome. Make this way. What a VIP. Brad just got off stage. Coming here to chat with us and enjoying that's one of my favorite seltzers in the world.
Yes. Hey, Brad, it's amazing when I think back to when we first met. You guys were just starting out. Crypt and I was starting to grow on the radio, before the album came out. And I remember meeting you and hanging out outside of St. Andrew's Hall in Detroit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. And I can't remember that. That was back in the day. That was our first time actually to play Detroit, I think.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, we had our family up there, and being South Mississippi, our family never really seen us play around even we never really toured before we got signed, and we just played in local bars down there, and to the point where when we recorded our first demo, I brought in and I played it for my parents, and my daddy said, well, and I was the drummer and the singer at the time, and my daddy said, well, that sounds good. Who's that singing? I said, that's me. He said, no, it ain't. I said, it is. But they were at that show, and that was one of the first times they had seen us since we got to tour.
Yeah, you guys were great that night. It was cool. But we found out you were playing down in town. I just heard the single, and I said, we were shooting for the show Farm Club, and I'm like, hey, let's go over to St. Andrew's Hall and see 3 doors down. I want to say hello to those guys and meet them, which was really cool. You guys were all super nice.
Thank you, man. And you were too. And we wound up being on Farm Club just a little bit later after that.
That's right, shortly after that, which was amazing. And, we did some really cool things over the years. Remember we did the thing in Biloxi where it was a contest with Rolling Stone magazine for looking for the next great Southern rock band, bands from the South.
I do. And I think did 12 Stones come from that show? Or
I think so. I think they did. And then, of course, ended up being on the Evanescence record and everything took off.
Yeah, I remember that night specifically. That was a fun time.
Yeah, we did have a fun time. So much so that I think I stayed an extra day because I couldn't get in my hotel. I couldn't get out. And it was really sad because shortly after that, of course, the hurricane came in. Those hotels we were in, a lot of them got knocked out of that.
They really did, man. It was amazing when Katrina came through there, and amazing in a terrible way. Because at the time, the casinos had to be over the water. The hotels and stuff could be over the land, but the casinos had to be actually kind of on floating moored barges, and they picked those things up and put them on the other side of the highway, and it was unreal. But it took me years to come back from down there. But last time I was down in Biloxi, it was beautiful. It honestly was better than before the storm hit, and sometimes hate to say that things like that are required because they're not, but it definitely sparked a lot of regrowth in the area, and Biloxi is back bigger and better down there for sure.
That's great to hear, isn't it? What are you guys saying? That's amazing.
All the amazing charity work you guys have done over the years is so impactful, and as I was doing so much research about it, and what you've done after hurricane relief and for children is so incredible. And what can you tell us about more how folks should still help and participate?
Yeah, the Better Life Foundation is, I think we're going into our 19th year this year of it, and we actually based it off of Brett Favre, who is actually from also from down in South Mississippi. We went to his event and kind of took it a couple of times, and it was like, we can do this, and so we started that foundation. It was originally to benefit like children's homes and local homeless shelters and things like that, and military charities along the Mississippi Gulf Coast. And over the years, it's grown throughout the region, and then we've done a lot of stuff throughout the country now, and a couple things like internationally as well. But we're very careful with that foundation as to contribute to things that we really believe in, that we really think that will do good, and we're very careful about how we donate the money so it doesn't get eaten up by like corporate expenses and things like that. It's truly a dollar in, dollar out a foundation. And this year we're not having it because we're going to be on tour, but almost every year we have it over at Harris Casino in Cherokee, and they do us wonderful over there, and it grows every year. And there's people that work on it a lot harder than me. I'm just proud to be a part of it, and obviously it's because of the fans. The fans contribute all the money that we then take and decide what we want to do with it, and we really, really search for worthy causes to contribute to.
That's incredible. And obviously, please check us out online and support if you can. It's so impactful. Well, listen, I got to witness Three Doors Down on a cruise ship last night in the middle of the ocean. We just got to pull out from the Bahamas again to see a second performance. What's it like playing on a boat?
You know what? This boat was really, really nice because if I wouldn't have known better and wouldn't have seen those ships like start moving, this boat ride's good, man. It's a good riding boat. And I've been on a couple that weren't so good riding, you know.
You ever been on the ones where, like, I remember one time I was on one, the corn were playing, and the whole thing was shaking back and forth, and I couldn't tell, how they were. I really couldn't figure out how Philby and those guys were staying on stage that night because the thing was going to move.
By the grace of God, we've had great weather this time, and we normally play. Greg, our drummer, he hits really hard, so we normally put him in the aquarium, the little plexiglass thing. And they were like, "We can't do that on the ship because we have more than one occasion we've had those things turn into projectiles." I was like, "Well, no offense, but before that turns into projectile, my little butt's gonna be off that stage."
Which is amazing.
You can do a leg kick up and end up in the third row.
Exactly.
That goes amiss.
Yeah, but at least there are fans there to catch it most of the time, which is
That's right.
cool. Let's talk about the tour you're going to be doing. It's great. You're going out. You and Creed. I mean, there's a friendship there for a long time. And Wolfie, man, with WBH are different.
I only like that lineup at sea, but I'm interested in land. But we're the lucky ones here that get to see it first, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Free preview.
I'm really looking forward to it too. And like I was saying on stage, it's kind of like coming full circle because when we first got signed, the first time we ever opened up for Creed, we grew up down in South Mississippi in Biloxi, and My Own Prison had first came out. It might have been out 2 weeks, and these guys were still like touring in a RV and stuff. And we were just a local band, and so we opened for Creed in a bar that held about 300 people. And about over the next year, we put a ticket stub on our Instagram the other day because I used to save those, and they were playing. They went from playing a 300-seat bar to the Coast Coliseum, which we'll be playing again this year, and that's in our hometown, and it holds probably 10,000 people. And it's just so crazy the way that things come back around, and we're so blessed to be going back out with those guys, and it's going to be a fun tour. I can't wait.
It's going to be great.
I think you see a lot of familiar faces throughout the year.
Look forward to seeing y'all out there.
Which I think is great. Brad, tell us, as a music guy, which I know all the people on here are so passionate about music, that's why they went and decided they'd come on a cruise and be here for this amazing, historic event. Tell me about for you as a kid, when you were growing up, you said you played drums and you sang, right? Yeah, were your parents at that period of time, could they tell you at the music book, that music thing what were you listening to as a kid? What was the thing that was making you go, hey man, I want to pick up those sticks, I want to play the drums, I want to sing?
I'm the youngest of 7 kids, so I grew up listening to whatever my brothers and sisters grew up to. But my, not the closest sibling, but the one just right above her, she was into 80s rock and Bon Jovi and Poison and all those bands. And so I grew up loving Bon Jovi and Poison as well. And I think my first cassette I think that I ever bought was White Lion Pride. Yeah. And I used to love the rock bands. And back in the day, so many of those bands used to come down to Biloxi and play. And but the thing that done it for what made me want to be, because when I was a little kid, I wanted to be a monster truck driver. I played drums, and I could never remember not beating on stuff. Because my brother, he was in 6th grade band and just a little single snare drum, and I have a picture for me when I was a year old beating on that snare drum, and I can't tell you how many thousands of times in my life I've been told to stop beating on stuff. But so. I think the one thing that really was kind of sparked it in me, that I was like, I want to do that, was the live Pour Some Sugar on Me video from Def Leppard. Just the way they run around that multi-level stage. And then at about the same time, Wanted Dead or Alive from Bon Jovi, seeing those guys traveling and getting on the jets and stuff, and I was like, man, I won't do that for a living. But at the same time, we never really expected anything. We never tried to get signed. We were happy playing for our friends in bars and down in South Mississippi and South Alabama, and WCPR, our local radio station down there, picked up the song after we had we had been on their local show a few times, and we didn't understand it. Like a radio station just can't start playing a song, you know. And their program director, Kenny Vest, he went out on a limb and he said, you know what, I'm gonna start playing this song. And it became the most requested song they'd ever had on that station. And they were a BDS reporting station, which is a chart that goes out to record companies and stuff, and kind of reflects what is being played on different channels and our different areas. And so we were on that chart, and you know, it's like artist, song, label, and the label spot on ours was empty, and that's what attracted the labels down to come talk to us. And we talked to a couple, and Monty Littman came down, and he was the head of Republic, and he's like, he seemed the most honest, and you know, we always had a great relationship with those guys, and man, but to be doing it 25 years later is so surreal, and to look back and see those guys up on that stage and think of like them being stars, and then I'm just an old country boy, and now to get to stand up there in the place where those guys who get to stand is like incredibly humbling for me every time I walk on that stage.
Incredible. Great.
Yeah. So I was thinking last night as I was watching you guys play, packed house, you know, everyone's hanging from the rafters. And would there ever be in the future maybe a Three Doors Down cruise?
Yeah, I'd love to, man. We've only done one. Like I said, like it's probably been at least a dozen years ago, and I'd definitely be down to do one.
What do you think? What do you any names on the workshop? Kryptonite Cruise? Any
Pretty cool.
3 cabins down?
That'd be cool. I think I'd be down with some Kryptonite Cruise.
You know, someone technically on this cruise is 3 doors down from 3 doors down. I just want to point that out. I don't know who that person is, but it is on this cruise.
That's the truth.
That is true. That's a lucky person. They don't know.
Absolutely.
I love that. And you know, it's again going back out and doing the shows is always something that's great to see. And you know what, like you were happy playing like in those clubs with 300 people. You guys were never expecting the airplay thing. That was what was so great about that period of time, that a band could break out of a certain area because a program director or a music director or a DJ there could say, man, I'm going to give this band a shot. I love this song if I believe in it. They were worried about the research and the metrics. Some of that might have played into it, but you know, that's the thing that's really, I think, missing right now. And although things can be global, there's something really special and beautiful about a record breaking out of a certain area or a certain radio station or somewhere. You know, I think it's something that's magical. That's not as often as it should be anymore.
Absolutely. You know, there's still and always will be bands playing in garages that are writing good songs and having a good time doing it, and that's what we were doing. You know, we played the same like 4 bars all the time. You know, and that's, you know, kids from time to time and young guys and stuff will ask me on Instagram or something. It's like, man, what advice can you give me? And you know, and the music industry has changed so much now that I wouldn't even know how to tell them to go about even getting out there, except to just keep on jamming and jam for your friends. But the one thing I always make sure that I tell them is don't ever let how far your music reaches determine how good you think it is. Because if you like it and your friends like it and y'all go jam and have fun at parties playing it, you're successful. Man, the rest of it is by such chance, you know, that you know, it's like lightning in a bottle sometimes, and a lot of times it's like work, and it works out so many different ways for so many different bands. I don't think anybody has the same story.
Yeah. Or the right formula. Nobody knows what that is. It's always there's so many different things that are factors.
Absolutely. So if you're having fun and you're expressing yourself and you and your buddies are getting along and you're writing cool music, you're succeeding as a band, you know. And those will always, you know, whether or not you ever play in front of 10,000 people or not, those will always be times that you look back on in your life as good times, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if it's like 20 people and they're all people that love you and are there for your early shows, those are also really important.
Amen.
I love it. Like you said, and it's a good point, Matt. Like having that local flavor, or in case of Mississippi, right? The really true birthplace of American music, right? And the lineage there. A little guy named Elvis is born there too. So much good music has come out of that, you know, that region, and to have that, you know, influence you as well as much as just huge popular bands is what makes it so special.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Bon Jovi. I was just talking to my friend Tiffany out here before about how Richie Zambor and I, he said, we're going to bar together. I used to spend New Wave Rock Night Tuesday nights, and it was Richie Zambor Trio, Richie Zambor and Friends.
That's awesome, man.
And that was it, which was great. It was this place called Charlie's Uncle. It was a restaurant in East Brunswick, New Jersey, and it was such a great time. Literally, it was the '80s, early '80s, so it was before he joined for the second Bon Jovi album. But it was
Until he got better friends.
yeah. But we had a good time back then. And Richie was having a blast, like playing there. And then it took off. So then about a year or so later, he came back in with John and Dave, and they were like, yeah, they were one of the biggest bands in the world when Slippery and Wet came. After Slippery and Wet came out, I was like, yeah, but he was still the same dude that I knew from Central Jersey.
And that's so important, man. People told us that you be cool with everybody because you meet the same people on the way down as you meet on the way up. But I learned that there is no up and down. We're all in a pool, and it's about that deep. You know what I'm saying? You just cross paths with the same people like over and over and over, and it's a big family. I think one of my favorite things about like touring and meeting bands and seeing them over the years, and you might not see them for a couple of years, but it's almost like your best friend that you hadn't seen in 5 years. It's almost like you could pick up the same conversation that you were having 5 years ago, and it's like you never missed a beat. It just becomes this big family, and a big touring family, and I consider myself so blessed to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible. And what an honor to got to be here this weekend. We got to share with you guys, share with Creed, and it's all the other bands. What an incredible experience. I know we're excited to come back next week. And again, hopefully see these guys all summer long as well. It's going to be incredible.
It's going to be amazing. Brad, it's so good to see you.
It's good to see you.
Brad Arnold, everybody. Yeah.
We're going to have you down. Appreciate it. Have a good one. Wow.
Yeah. Okay.
Take it.
Look,
Come on.
There you go.
See?
Yes,
In the gift shop, just like the guy from Three Doors Down wears.
yes, it's fantastic.
Isn't that a great endorsement?
Yes, it's an
We got to
amazing
get a
endorsement.
photo of him in that hat.
Yes,
Well,
we do.
We're not done yet, Matt. We are not done
No, we are
by
not.
a minute.
Yeah, so we're really excited. These guys
I'm super excited for this
that are
one.
next, because I remember again, it's incredible because when you find a band you love, and I remember when their first single came out, Lit Up. I was so pumped about this, and I would take this CD when you used to take a CD to the gym, with a disc, man. I would always do that.
I don't know what that
Try to
is.
not make it skip, but it was like